It's 1 o'clock in the morning on a soft and fragrant June night. I'm driving with the windows down. There's a pretty girl in the passenger seat next to me. We're listening to Bruce Springsteen on the radio, and we're going to a diner. Does it get any more New Jersey than this? Hollywood couldn't have set the scene any better. And if Hollywood has taught us anything, it's that your first time is very important, often hilarious, and sometimes fraught with danger. I'm 17 years old, and I just finished my junior year of high school, which means I'm now a high school senior. It's a Friday night, and I've been out with my best friend John and his girlfriend his girlfriend Kathleen, and Kathleen's friend Jane. Now, Jane and I, we're not dating. We did fool around once at a party, and I think John and Kathleen, they would have liked it if we'd started a date, but there wasn't really any chemistry there. But tonight, things feel a little bit different. I mean, it might be because it's June and I'm feeling free, or it might be the pilfered beer and wine, I'm not really sure. But I'm captivated by Jane's cute little laugh and the way she touches my forearm every time I say something funny. And I gotta tell you, tonight, I'm apparently very funny. And John notices how I'm getting along with Jane, so he says to me, hey, you should take Jane to the diner. And even though the diner is only a couple blocks away, he says, you could take my car, and by that he means his father's car. So off Jane and I go. And we're laughing as we drive, and we're singing along to Bruce Springsteen, and we're reenacting our own version of that storied New Jersey ritual. And then we pull into the diner parking lot, and I turn into a parking space, and the car lurches up over that concrete parking stopper thingy, lurches onto a concrete retaining wall and hits a tree and a fence. After a moment of awkward silence, I turn off the car and I say, Jane, should we get some food first or should I call the tow truck? And she doesn't laugh at that or touch my forearm. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, she says. In a different context, I might have appreciated that. Not really helpful right here and now. And then she gets quiet, and then she says to me, we've got to get out of here. And she bolts out of the car and runs away. And I'm left all alone, except for one guy. There was a cook enjoying a smoke outside the kitchen, and he saw everything that happened. Now, my immediate problem, now that Jane has left, is that I can't back the car up off the retaining wall because the rear wheels are not touching the pavement. So the guy in the kitchen, his name is Mickey. I went to high school with him. Great. He takes pity on me, and he goes in the kitchen, and he gets all the guys out of the kitchen, and they come out, and they're going to stand on the back of the car while I get in, and I try to back it up. It didn't work. So they leave, and then I really do have to call the tow truck. And the tow truck comes, and they hook up the car, and they drag it across the retaining wall, and it makes this hideous metallic shriek. But when they get it off, the car actually looks okay. And then I deal with the cops who came, because the woman whose tree I hit, she called the cops. But, I take care of that. So by the time Kathleen and Jane bring John back, I have everything pretty much under control. But Jane and Kathleen don't know this. They pull up to the diner, and there's all of these cop lights flashing there. So they just push John out of the car, and then they take off. And I swear I heard Jane shriek one more time as the car turns the corner. John and I don't say much to each other. John gets into the car, and I get in there too, and we drive home. And when we get home, it's about 3:30 in the morning, and we both agree that we're going to deal with the consequences in the morning. But this is June, so morning is really only a couple of hours away. And I can't sleep because I feel so guilty. And around 7:30 in the morning, I look out my window, because my window overlooks John's driveway. And I see John's dad. He's walking around the car. He's rubbing his chin, and every once in a while he stops, and he squats down to look underneath the car. And he's got this expression of disappointment and sadness on his face. And I recognize that expression because he was my Little League coach, and he looked like that to me a lot. I can't take it anymore. So I go downstairs, I'm ready to meet my fate. And I find my parents, and they're in the kitchen, they're having breakfast. So I tell them about my first time getting into a car accident. I leave out as much as I can about the beer and about Jane. And while I'm telling the story, my older brother comes home because he works the night shift. And he listens to the story, and when I finish, he says, "You hit the gas instead of the brakes? That's what old people do." And my father sits there nodding slightly, and then he says something I know I'll never forget. He says, "Well, at least it wasn't our car." So with those words of encouragement, I went next door. Now, I have been in John's kitchen many, many times. It's best practically every morning in elementary school I'd have to go there and sit there and wait for him to finish breakfast because he'd always sleep late and his mother would always make him eat breakfast. I've had dinner over there so many times, but now I have to go there and I have to apologize. And I walk in and John's parents are there. And I say, "I'm so sorry," and I look down because I can't bear to look him in the eyes. And then John's father says, "What happened?" And I look up because I think he's joking, and he's holding a piece of paper in his hand. And I said, "John didn't tell you?" And he said, "No, John's still sleeping. He just left a note that said, 'Don't use the car. I'll explain in the morning.'" So I explain how Jane and I got hungry and we went to the diner, and how John and Kathleen didn't want to go. And I explained how I hit the gas instead of the brake. And I explained that I know that that's what old people do. And it wasn't until a few weeks later that I really learned from John what was happening that night. And it was supposed to be John and Kathleen's first night. And they sent Jane and I away so that they could be alone. And then Jane came home in the middle of it screaming. And I had to laugh when I heard that because I pictured John's mother in that kitchen when I told her what had happened. And his mother said, "I don't understand. Why didn't John go to the diner?" And his father said, "It's because he wasn't hungry." Thank you.